I'd just like to pass the microphone now to Sadhviji, who's going to introduce our first presenter. You're going to have a very, very, very special treat.
Even though it's only the morning of the second day, one of the things that we notice here on the banks of Ganga is that time takes on completely new meanings. On the one hand, it may seem to go way too fast. And 7 days will go and you'll look back and you'll say, oh my God, I just got here. But on the other hand, every single minute is infinite. And so although it's only been just over 24 hours since we officially started, it's been lifetimes. And that we're so rooted in and committed to is through this week to bring the opportunity for everyone here to have that experience of yoga within themselves, that experience of union within yourself, of that small, temporary, individual you, to the divine, the true you, the you that is nameless and formless, the you that is. And yesterday we had this beautiful expanded moment speaking about unity and what is that and how do we get there, and whether you want to walk in through the paradigm of molecules and science and frequency, or you want to walk in through meditation, it doesn't matter. Just get in. Here on the banks of Mother Ganga, the point is just get in. Whether you get in down the steps at Parmarth Niketan's Ghat, whether you get in down a ramp, little bit downriver at Gita Bhavan, whether you go up to Ramjula and you walk in on a sandy beach, whether you go up to Lakshman Jula and you jump in off a rock, it doesn't matter. Ganga's not giving special blessings to people who get in one way compared to another way. It's not that those who do a flip off the rock are somehow getting more blessings than those who walk down the steps. The point is just get in, dubki lagao. And so every day in this spiritual lecture time is yet another path, another way, another opening, another opportunity, another unfolding into you, that true you which is yoga. And so today, with the theme of yoga in the marketplace, it really is a theme of not the business of yoga or yoga as a business, but we all live in a marketplace. How, when we live in that marketplace, do we really stay connected? What does it mean to be in yoga, in the world? And we'll have a beautiful, beautiful session today together. Opening it with our keynote today is a very dear, very beloved, very respected brother of the spirit, Puja Gaur Gopal Dasji Maharaj. Let's give him a very big round of applause. Yesterday, when Dr. Bruce Lipton gave this beautiful opening from the world of science, we were talking about how there is really no division between science and spirituality except where we see it in ignorance. When we see the truth of either, we realize they actually become one together. And Gaur Gopal Dasji Maharaj is a wonderful embodiment of that, who has a prestigious degree in engineering, was working as an engineer, and after really attaining that level of heights of success in the field of science and engineering, realized that the world needed him to bring about a different type of science and engineering. And so has spent the last several decades as more of what you could think of as a spiritual engineer, a spiritual scientist, helping us put the pieces together in our spiritual lives, connecting us to ourselves, to God, with his extraordinarily wonderful abilities in both English and Hindi. He's become a huge sensation, both in person and online, on the internet, on social media, for people of all ages. The traditional ones who want it in Hindi and want it from the scriptures, as well as the youth who want someone down to earth, able to speak in English about that which is happening today in their language. And he is giving all of the different populations exactly what they need to open and understand and connect. He is a disciple of Puja Radhanath Swamiji Maharaj, who has been one of the great highlights of our International Yoga Festival, and whom we are hopeful will be coming back again next year. We were just speaking about how wonderful it would be to have both of them here together next year. So with that, I will very humbly and very lovingly request Puja Gaur Gopal Dasji Maharaj to begin this session with his keynote.
The driver, posing as Einstein, said, "You dare call yourself a scientist? How can a scientist ask such a dumb question as this? This is such a dumb and a stupid question that even my driver sitting at the back can answer. Driver, can you answer that question? Trust me." And Albert Einstein, sitting there at the back, answered the question. And everybody in the crowd was wondering, if this is what the driver is, imagine what the scientist is. Now, when I heard that, I don't know how true the story is though. Whether true or not, when I heard this for the first time, I started reflecting on drivers. Like most of you from the Western world, usually you don't have chauffeurs. Most people kind of drive themselves. In India, it's considered extremely prestigious and upmarket to have a driver. If you're in a chauffeur-driven, a driver-driven car, you're considered up there, And I've been like taking Ubers and having drivers in there. We have a driver who drives me around in Mumbai, where I live. And I haven't really heard too many drivers talk philosophy. They're amazing people. Their work is incredible. Their dedication, their commitment is incredible. But they are known to take you from point A to point B physically, giving you a physical direction. Here in this country, India, 5,000 years back, in a place called Rana, a beautiful place, Kurukshetra, battlefield, a chariot, a warrior fighting a war to win his rights so that he can establish righteousness, virtue, and is totally confused. He had his driver, his close buddy, his close friend. More than being a buddy, more than being a friend, he was a mentor. And here we have Krishna, Shri Krishna, steering the chariot of Arjun, not giving Arjun's chariot simply a physical direction moving from point A to point B, which he most certainly did, but giving his thoughts, his values, his belief systems, an internal direction through a dialogue. Arjun is the philosophy of yoga off the mat. On the mat, yoga is all about exercise, fitness, and we all want to have physical fitness indeed. Great, isn't it? How many of you would like to have a slim, trim, light body, light like a feather? Brilliant. How many of you would like to have your body stretch in all directions? Brilliant. How many of you would like to take a breath in and just hold it for the rest of eternity? Thank you, brilliant. How many of you would like to breathe out and just stay like that for the rest of eternity? It is absolutely amazing. Yoga on the mat is absolutely amazing. But trust me, 99.9% of our time in our life is off the mat. So if you limit yoga to the mat, and if you limit yoga simply to physical exercise, asanas and pranayam and breathing techniques, what do you do when you're out in the marketplace? What do you do when you're at your work? What do you do when you're in the world out there interacting? Wouldn't it be too utopian to say that, okay, we are all going to live in our own worlds in the ashram? Few people may get that opportunity, and you can ask Sadhviji, how much time do we as monks get on the mat? There are so many other things to tackle and handle which require engagement with the world. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, we must accept this cardinal fact that most of our time is not going to be on the mat. And which is precisely why this discussion is extremely crucial, important, and of great value. How do we practice yoga off the mat? Lord Krishna gave Arjun a direction. There was no mat on that battlefield. There was only arrows, there were only bows, and there were formidable foes to fight, to establish virtue. Like most of us, have our own battles, have our own issues, have our own problems, have our own challenges, have our own difficulties, have our own tribulations to face and fight. We do. And which is precisely why direction is extremely crucial. We are all in a physical direction, some from Australia to Rishikesh, some from Russia to Rishikesh. Even is how you live. Our lifestyles and our choices that we make in the outside world are totally dependent on what we believe in our inside world. And trust me, these lifestyle choices are because of a belief. People have turned vegans because they have a belief internally that no, we cannot have violence against animals, and not even cows because the calves are going to be deprived of the milk. No, we don't want to take any dairy products as well. Trust me, it's what we believe in internally that shapes our choices and our lives externally, which is why our values and beliefs internally are of paramount importance. So as much as we want to do the asanas in our best possible ways, as much as we want to master Kumbhak and Rechak and all kinds of yoga practices, it is very crucial that whilst you are here for the next 7 days, approach each other, masters, teachers, which is 99%. I grew up here in this country, India, in a very traditional family. And I always heard the river Ganges being referred to as Mother Ganga. In Hindi, we would call her Ganga Ma, or we would call her Ganga Mata. I always referred to this particular tract of India referred to as Bharat Mata, Mother India. I always heard a cow being referred to as Mother Cow or Go Mata. I'm like wondering, cow's an animal, we called her a mother. India is a physical tract of land, we called her a mother. Out there is a body of water, a river, we called her a mother. It was a value system. It was a philosophy. And as long as we believed that the Ganges was our mother, we didn't dump stuff in there. As soon as we started thinking it's simply a body of water, we don't mind what crap we put in there. Trust me. Trust me. And it's all a simple shift of ideology. It is a simple shift of values. If your value is she's my mother, you don't rape your mother by dumping things in her. You value your mother. If I would consider this tract of land as my mother, I would keep it clean. I would make sure that this is my mother, how respectfully I would treat this tract of land. Our lifestyle choices are based on the values that we believe in. And yoga has incredible values and beliefs. The more we try to learn these values, understand these values beyond a system of exercise, trust me, your body will certainly be transformed, but your life will be transformed. In an age of information technology, from Rishikesh we are exporting transformation technologies, ladies and gentlemen. Yoga is the process of transformation, you know. And imagine if this were true, how many of our environmental issues and ecological disasters would be solved if we really treated all rivers as our mothers, and if we treated trees as temples? Why would we cut them down? Why, when we consider trees as having life in there, why would we cut them down? And therefore, yoga off the mat in the marketplace is number one, yoga as a philosophy, as a set of values which can transform our choices and our lifestyle and bring even social wellness. How many of you were disturbed with something this morning? You can't lie. If you lie in front of monks, you get cursed. Just joking. Okay. How many of you are kind of a little disturbed that if only my room had a little extra kind of soft mat, it'd be nice? Okay, thank you. How many of you were a little disturbed with the person staying with you in the room who rides the Harley Davidson every night? You know what I mean? Yeah. How many of you were probably disturbed with a little bit of food choices, if only this, I'm missing my this, I'm missing. Any of you? Oh my gosh, all of you live in the golden age. Detached monks and sages, lovely. Lovely, lovely. Trust me, there's going to be something that's going to keep us disturbed every single day. That there wouldn't be a trigger that would disturb our minds. I once saw a gentleman, he was wearing a t-shirt, and on the t-shirt, on the top it said, "Do not disturb." And underneath, in bold capital letters, was written, "Already disturbed." How much more are you going to disturb me when I'm already disturbed? I'll tell you, the World Health Organization, gentlemen, people are suffering agony and turmoil inside with fit bodies after stretching in all asanas, with pranayams for which gives you a little bit of peace at that moment. I see people disturbed and in agony and pain inside. And which is precisely why we have to start looking at yoga also from another dimension. And there's going to be reasons for disturbance, like I said. Everybody is disturbed. Everybody. Mental illness. Everybody has something in there which keeps them disturbed. I don't think being disturbed is a problem. I think staying disturbed is a problem. And mental wellness is about how quickly do we bounce back to our normal state. To say that I won't be disturbed, you have to live in a cave in the Himalayas. Even there they are disturbed. Because sometimes the government will seal their cave. And they have to go and fight a case in the court. Even there in the Himalayan mountains, in the caves of the Himalayan mountains, if one of the Babajis there can think I need to fight a court case, what are we going to talk about people like ourselves who engage with the world, ladies and gentlemen? A husband came back home and said to his wife, "I brought a special gift for you." She said, "What is it?" He said, "You are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. What? Can you come back again? Said, "You are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. So what does that mean? Said, "You're A for adorable, B for beautiful, C for charming, D for disciplined, E for enchanting, F for fashionable, G for gorgeous, H for humble." And he stopped there. She said, "But you said till K, right? What about I, J, K?" He said, "I'm just kidding." I'll tell you what. Trust me. There'll be people who praise you in the moment, and the next moment they trash you. Any of you ever had that experience in your relationships? Thank you. In a moment they smile, and the next moment they're like, "What the heck?" Sufficient reasons to keep us disturbed, guys. Which is why yoga off the mat, beyond the philosophy, is a process. I won't get into the details of pratyahar, some of the teachers will. It's a process where it allows you to step back inside, taking a step back and looking at the situation in a more objective way than a subjective way of being totally involved. When you're the most involved, are you the most disturbed? When you step back and look at it in a more objective, a realistic way, you evaluate the situation on the merit of what it is, not what you. Expensive, probably one of the most expensive in the town. He loved it. There were people around who came and they proposed to him that we want to buy this house for double the price that's being paid in the market, but he didn't sell it. One day the gentleman was out of town. And when he got back, right in front of his eyes, he saw the entire house being burnt down to ashes. He was involved. He loved it. He was attached. His heart was into that property. As he saw the house being burnt down, he was stunned, shocked, hurt, pained. He started crying. sobbing, crying, wailing for that matter. His oldest son came to him and said, Dad, he said in his ears, Dad, will you please forgive me? He said, and what do you want me to forgive you for? He said, I'm really sorry, Dad, but you were away and a wealthy gentleman in our town came up to me just yesterday and said to me that your house is so incredibly amazing, your dad just doesn't want to sell it away, but I'm willing to offer 4 times the market price if you are willing to buy it and if you're up for it. And sorry, Dad, I didn't ask you. I sold the house away yesterday. And you can imagine this man? He had all smiles now. He was crying just 5 minutes back and now he had all smiles. Why? This is no longer mine. I'm no longer involved. Like if you were to correct someone else's child, you wouldn't. If your child is in pain, we will feel compassion. We should feel compassion. But you wouldn't feel involved. How many of you would be involved in somebody else's spouse's matters? No, we wouldn't. The next moment, his second son came and said, Dad, don't take this too seriously, okay? Yesterday, this wealthy guy has only given us a token amount. And I truly don't think he's going to be up for buying this house after it's burned down to ashes. The smile changed to tears again. And then his youngest son came running and said to him, Dad, when I saw the house burning, I walked to the rich man's home and asked him, Sir, this is an act of providence. It's not in our control. Would you still buy the house? He said, look, I'm a man of word. I'm going to buy this house for the same price that I quoted. And the man was all smiles again. Smiles and tears, smiles and tears, smiles and tears, smiles and tears. Our life, guys. Our life, guys. Smiles and tears, smiles and tears, smiles and tears. Going through an emotional roller coaster. Yoga is a process which teaches you just to take a step back and observe the situation objectively. And if you don't explore this dimension of yoga, you'll be fit physically, but mentally always disturbed. So the philosophy of yoga gives social wellness. The process of yoga gives mental wellness. And here's the last thing that I want to share with all of you, which is very close to my heart. What yoga does to us. This is something that I love. You know, there's a teacher here in India, she called a father of a child and said, I've been teaching your son how to pronounce the word electricity for the last 2 months. The guy keeps saying electricity. The father said, whoever call it electricity, what you call doesn't matter. When the bulb gets connected to the source of power, it lights up. It lights up. The bulb is simply some tungsten filament and some glass, but when connected, it brings light. We all want to be enlightened. We want light and love in our lives. And in order to do that, we need to make that deep connect. The very word yoga and the world needs light and love today. In the situation that we are in, Bhagawati was telling me that we are talking about from Corona to Karuna. We need light and love. But if you are not lit up, how do you? If you have social wellness, mental wellness, and spiritual wellness, it is more than physical exercise, more than just breathing techniques. And each one has a connection to it. First is the philosophy which gives us the values, giving us lifestyle choices. Second is the ability to step back and watch. And third is to adopt some kind of spiritual practice, whether it's meditation, chanting, prayer, whatever that may be for you, and feel that deep connect, that deep light, that deep love within ourselves, that we can share it with the world. I want to thank you all very, very much for making your journey to Rishikesh for the Tiger Festival. Congratulate you for all of what you have. Wish you all the best. And once again, thank you for having me over. Thank you. Thank you.
Big round of applause. Show the love. Wow, that on the YouTube channel there. I love that piece. That reminded me of the driver. When I was in a one day, family across, and just the story was incredible, and he was so overwhelmingly happy to be an Uber driver in the States and drive people around. So I thought, wow, that's cool. So I started talking to all the Uber drivers because I travel a lot, and it's been a little passion of mine. And I've met, astrophysicists, I've met incredible artists, musicians. So I invite you all to really get to know your Uber drivers, and your drivers, because I know a lot of you come from the West. So that really lit my heart, that one. So yeah, we're going to start our panel session now. And we're just going to go quickly. I mean, I know many of you were here yesterday, so I'll just do a very, very short introduction of our honored guest today. First, we have Gurmukh Kaur Khalsa, internationally loved yoga teacher of Kundalini Yoga, as taught by Yogi Bhajan. Pioneer in the field of prenatal yoga as well. Please give a big round of applause. Next, we have Bharat Mitra, my beloved brother. He is a pioneer of bringing spirit into the business world. He is the founder of Organic India and also of Uplift. And he really, really walks the talk of what it means to be a vehicle of consciousness and how to bring that into the real world. Big round of applause. We have Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswatiji. She is, as you all know, the spiritual director of the International Yoga Fest, has been a complete devoted champion for human rights causes and many causes, environmental causes across the world. Tireless leader, true visionary. Big round of applause. Next we have Prince E.A., another incredible visionary, raise consciousness on the planet. And he's a great spoken word poet, as many of you know, amazing content director. Big round of applause. Next we have Andrew Hewitt, another great visionary, who is really also bringing the idea of spirit into the business world. And he travels the world giving lectures, talks, and convenings, and really, really building this framework of how to change the Game A philosophy that's happening, the Game A paradigm that we're currently living in, to a whole new conscious paradigm. Big round of applause. I think everyone's got their microphones. Perfect. Okay, great. We'll start this session. So, this session, once again, as we said, was, how do we take yoga off the mat and into the real world, like that 99.9% or that 95% of our daily lives, where we're, interacting every day with all sorts of energies. So the first question I want to ask the panel is, yoga means union, and it's easy to feel unified here at this beautiful yoga fest, the banks of Ganga, when we're in this incredible bubble of love and harmony and coherence. Everybody's pretty much in the same vibe, as Bruce called it yesterday, the good vibe. But how do we maintain this feeling of unity when we leave this sacred place and return to the outside world, which is so caught in the illusion of... Wow. Shall I choose someone? Maybe. Well, this is cool. Maybe we can all think about that question for a second. How about that?
Good morning, everyone. I think that the fundamental confusion is that so often we attribute the connection that we experience to our true nature, we attribute it to circumstances. In moments like this, rather than to look how beautiful it is at the banks of Ganga, in Rishikesh, in the International Yoga Festival, which obviously it is, but it's also a moment calling on all of us to dive deep enough to recognize that which is unchanging, that which we are regardless of circumstances. And then it doesn't matter where we are, the truth of who we are is unconditional. And actually, when the circumstances around are really stressful, and yet the freedom to rest in the truth of who we are and to be the unchanging peace, the contrast so delightful. The invitation to deepen our love affair with the beings of light, the eternal, pure consciousness that we are. The invitation to rest in that is precious. So let's not attribute. So easy to say, oh, I'm not feeling so great because of whatever it is, but it is not being awake that in this moment, the only source of stress is when we identify ourselves with what we are not.
So as my beloved brother Bharat Mitra was speaking, it reminded me of my favorite joke, which is a joke of a man of one complaint. This guy, everything hurts. So after running